Hey friends, Gina here. Welcome back to the Destination Baby and Kids YouTube channel. I am here to go over all-in-one revolving car seats. So I have a series of videos about the different revolving car seats or car seats that have rotation. This video is specifically focused on seats that will do 360-degree rotation and that are all-in-one seats. So an all-in-one car seat is going to be a car seat that is rear-facing, forward-facing, and also a booster seat. The idea is that all of the modes of the car seat would be shoved into one seat, and then the seat would also have 360-degree rotation. So the seats that we have here lined up, these three are going to do that. The one on the end down here is the Safety First Turn Go DLX all-in-one car seat. The one that we have here is the Maxi-Cosi Emme 360, and the one over here on the end is the Evenflo Revolve360. So, biggest difference between these three seats are going to be height and weight capacities, and then also the way that they install in the vehicle. So let's get right into it. Interestingly, the Maxi-Cosi is going to have very, very similar features to the Safety First. So I did a whole video on how they are essentially the same car seat. The Safety First is considerably less expensive, but it is functionally identical to this guy. The manual is pretty much identical. I did notice one difference, however, between these two seats earlier while I was adjusting this one to go into booster seat mode just for the sake of the video. This this Safety First Turn Go DLX has a different type of crotch buckle than the other two. This one, you need to exert a little more force to get the harness to pop out, and there's like a spring mounting in it. I noticed that I almost needed two fingers to be able to push that button to get it to release. So something to be aware of with this model. This model is also going to be the least expensive of the three. So this one clocks in at $319. This guy right here from Maxi-Cosi is going to be $450. And the Revolve360 in this model, which is the one without sensor safe, is going to be $399, so $400. As I said, they all do the rear, the forward, and the booster. Now, the one that'll work for the child for the longest period of time is going to be the Evenflo. And the reason for that, I have to have my chart here because there's so much information on all of them. Your forward-facing harness height on this guy, and on all three of them, is going to be 49 inches, but your rear-facing height on this guy is going to be 48 inches. On both of those seats, your rear-facing height maxes out at 40 inches. Additionally, the weight capacity in rear-facing mode for both of these seats is going to be 40 pounds, whereas here our rear-facing weight capacity is going to be 50 pounds. So if you're looking to do extended rear-facing, both of those seats will easily get you to most likely age 2. This guy, however, if you wanted to go for a longer period, you definitely can do that because, like I said, it's going to do the 48 inches and the 50 pounds in the rear facing. Other interesting things to note is the harness height on these two. It's pretty short. When it is the 5-point harness, which is this here, this will get you a grand total of 16 inches. On the Revolve360 Extend, it is the tallest seated torso height on any car seat that I've encountered so far. So you're looking at a seated torso height here of 20 inches, which is kind of unbelievable. Some other use things here that were a little bit interesting to note. Both this seat and this seat have very specific instructions that you have to use the wedge pillow, which is what they call these two components, in rear-facing mode. It's not optional. Then for a forward-facing mode, I believe you have to continue to use the wedge pillow until your child is 30 pounds. So, you know, the Maxi-Cosi comes with a lot of padding and cushioning. I do think that that's great, but it is just more unique that they're going to ask you and insist that you use these very specific body pillows in rear facing mode, and then they don't actually mark it on the pillow. So I'm kind of annoyed about that. I wish that they would do that. Both of these guys in the harness mode have a magnetic chest clip, which is cool. And the Maxi-Cosi Emme does have the more typical crotch buckle where you don't have to have a spring mounting and a super hard squeeze to undo it. So that was kind of interesting. The other thing about the Maxi-Cosi Pure Cozy fabric, which I didn't really touch on fairly in my other video, is that this is the only seat of the 3 that's going to have flame retardant free fabric. Also, they claim this fabric is greener because there's just less chemicals going into the world. That would also be true. Also, from just like a convenience standpoint, the cup holders here are pretty cool because you can put sippy cups with handles in it. You can spin that around. You also have harness retainers here for the buckle. So when you're taking your child in and out, you're gonna be able to, harness that back and over to keep it out of the way, easier in and out. The Safety First doesn't have that feature. And on the Evenflo, you don't really have that feature either. But sometimes with rear-facing and forward-facing convertible seats, you can tuck things into plastic, or you can find places where pieces might be able to go and sit. Ooh, there's plastic over on the side, where you'll actually be able to have that piece tuck in. So no buckle tuck necessarily on this guy, but certainly enough room to be able to tuck that over for getting in and out. So that being said, the body pillow here, fully optional in rear facing mode. It can be manipulated in a way to make it more useful for the body of a littler child, but in general, something that's kind of nice about this is all the padding can be in there or out of there. All 3 of these companies are going to brag about having easily washable material. I would give the advantage to Evenflo in that this does zip out. So we're able to remove specific pieces, wash it, and then put it back on the product. These ones from Maxi-Cosi and from Safety First over here are going to be easily washable, and I think they say easy to dry. This one here, that's the non-Pure Cozy, this is antimicrobial fabric. This sort of feels like neoprene. The Pure Cozy has a variety of textures, more neoprene. I mean, this is definitely a more premium fabric on it, no question about that. And then for the Evenflo, it's going to be more of that neoprene type nylon material. All of them have cup holders. All of them, you can remove the cup holders for cleaning and washing. Again, interior dimension here is going to be larger than that guy. Both of those have about 10 inches on the interior for space. Here we were looking at 11. And all 3 of these seats have a crotch depth. So the deepest part for that buckle is going to be 6 inches on all of them. When you think about combination seating, like a Kiko, MyFit, or a Britax Grow With You, those have 8 and 9 inches of crotch space respectively. So they would have more room for a bigger body. So while these do offer rear, forward, and booster and do have high harness heights, you may have a kid that just needs more physical seated space, and that's where a combination seat is actually very useful. So something to keep in mind with an all-in-one seat. I did measure the Britax One for Life, which is an all-in-one seat that's stationary, just to see the buckle depth there for the crotch piece, and that was at 7. So 6 is still pretty good on all of these guys. Now, if I could have my cameraman come over here, I want to illustrate the biggest functional difference between these seats. I think I hit all my other important information, but yeah. So we'll start with the Evenflo. I do think that the installation here is probably one of the easiest. The rotation on this product is also very, very clever because the rotation is attached to the seat itself. There's arrows that align here. We'll remove the seat, And now we can put the seat wherever we want. And we have the opportunity to use this guy here. We also need to use the top tether. And why does this matter? Top tethers are important for car seats. And why it matters is that I did learn something interesting today. When we install this seat to use as a harnessed seat, meaning rear or forward facing with the 5-point harness, that's when we'll use the top tether. When we reinstall this for a booster seat, we would use the lower anchors to hook up this seat via the base to the actual seat, and that way it wouldn't be a projectile. But at that point, they do ask you to remove the top tether. So again, when it's in a harnessed mode, you're going to use the top tether. When it's in a booster mode, you are not going to use the top tether. And Evenflo has videos on how to install this guy at every stage, and a lot of videos for clarification, which I found to be excellent. Really useful, really easy. Like for instance, that's how I was able to ascertain you want to make sure to lock your seatbelt off. And now this is correctly installed. We would hook up that top tether, and now the seat will realign with the arrows, and we can decide which way we want it. In rear facing mode, you're looking at 30 inches in your most upright. When it's in its most reclined, 32, but then also, you know, that would add more depth to it. But it is a pretty nice option. Also with this guy, and it's gonna be the same over there, when it's in a more upright mode, you will be able to get the seat to turn, but it will stop and refuse to go all the way around. In order to get it to go all the way around, you need it in its most reclined mode. And that's gonna be true of that guy as well. They're both adjustable though with the recline without it being like fully backwards. So you have some play with it to do that, which is really nice. Now this one for installation is definitely a little trickier. Your rotation here, which I was thinking about earlier, is more two-handed. I mean, it's definitely two-handed. So here to rotate, it's on the seat, and you see I can have my other hand free. On this guy for rotation, you'll squeeze, and then you'll use your other hand to get it to rotate. So if you're one-handed, or you have a specific situation where a single hand spin would be simpler, definitely this guy is going to be easier to get that to engage and to turn. Now you'll move this toward the door. There's a little indicator over here that'll show this side says unlocked. If I pinch this handle and lift up, we have now pieces that look very similar to what we see on this guy. This seat is attached with wire. They do that on purpose so that there's no accidental misuse of this without this piece. I sort of wish that wire wasn't there because this is definitely a little bit more awkward for install, but the concept is pretty similar. You open up this belt tensioning plate. You'll pull your belt through. You'll buckle your belt. Then again, we have preemptively, theoretically in here, routed the top tether. I mean, to be fair, I would adjust this headrest. In this case, I'm going to take it off. Shove that down and through. And now here, we tighten the belt. And with this one, we've got windows that are going to act as indicators as to when the seat is installed tightly enough. So I'm going to do my best here with this, given sort of the challenges of this specific seat. We're almost at full green. My suspicion is that when I close this, yep, that's going to go fully green. That locks. The seat's on, and then we would lock our seatbelt. I don't think this seatbelt actually locks. And it says in the book, if you have a locking retractor, then go ahead and lock it. So this one doesn't it's just a demo seat, but 95% of the seats that you see will have a switchable locking retractor. You'll pull it out, let it retract like you saw this one do. So now, as you can see, the seat can install. Again, the rotation here is squeezing from there, spinning the seat. And the rotation on this guy is also similar to that one. There we go, the police. There's 5 different recline levels with this, which is awesome. But again, that's only going to be in a rear facing mode. In your forward facing mode, the seat will just be upright. And again, as you can see, I have it more upright. The depth dimension here, when I measured it, the depth dimension here when I measured it was 30 inches. Just wanted this headpiece to come down. And again, to get it to rotate, you'll squeeze and rotate it. Now it's in its more upright, and as you can see, I'm able to get it pretty close, but I need to still recline it in order to get it to go fully clipped into forward facing. So things to consider with that one are going to be, oh, it also has magnetic chest clip, and it'll have it on that guy too. I don't know if I covered that. That's a nice feature. But again, on this one, you're gonna have the body pillow. That one, you're gonna be using the body pillow up quite a ways, always in rear facing, and then up to 30 pounds in forward facing mode. So now that we've seen that, when we do these as booster seats, as I said before, on this one, we would undo the top tether, we would undo the seat belt, we would hook it in with the latches, close that belt lock off onto the latches, and then we would have the base nice and tightly installed for a booster seat. When we turn this into a booster seat situation, 9 times out of 10, well actually 10 times out of 10, you would remove this guy. I'm leaving it on just because it has information that's useful to the seat here. But it will be naked, and then you will run the seat belt through, buckle, there's a shoulder belt positioner, and then you just make sure it's adjusted to the correct height. And boosters are actually belt positioning boosters, so that's what they're intended to do. They're intended to make the seat belt sit correctly on the body. Now, on this guy, once the base is installed with the tether, you could undo it, reinstall it with latch, and do the top tether for booster seat installation. Neither one of these manuals was particularly clear about reinstalling the base for booster, whereas here it was quite clear that there were other steps to do in order to make it work the way that you would want it to work. So because all the information in here said whenever you're using the lower anchors to use the top tether, I'm going to assume that that is how you would use it for a booster seat mode. I will double check with them, but that was what I could gather from the instruction book. Not the clearest instructions as far as that goes. The other thing is these are both going to be a shorter seated height for booster mode. Booster mode height on that guy was 52 standing inches, and your booster height on this guy is going to be 57, so that's quite a bit taller. The other thing to keep in mind here, when you change this to go into booster mode, they do the same thing. The harness comes back. They just want you to like shove it behind the headrest. And again, the instructions were very, very poor and unclear as to how exactly to make that happen. Here, it was also relatively unclear, but the nice thing was they have videos online that show exactly where they want you to put and place these pieces. They also have like little housing units on the inside to keep all of that stuff away. And then this guy here has a storage here on the bottom of the seat. So you've got places to keep this stuff. And it's not like this harness system fully comes out. I'm glad that it doesn't. That's like a lot of pieces to lose. So I think it's nice that it just stays on the product. So biggest things to consider if you are looking for a highly fashionable seat and you don't mind that it's a little more work to get it to rotate, and you like, see, it brushed against my knuckles, not fond of that. You like the flame retardant free fabric, I would say the way to go would be this guy. Personally for me, because I'm sort of a functionality person, if I was going to do this functionality, I would probably just buy this one because the price is considerably less expensive. Also, I think the body pillow here is less annoying, even though the fabric maybe isn't as nice. So again, to me, these are so similar, it would be hard to justify the price jump here, but I do think the buckle tucks are very nice. And again, definitely the plushest fabric of the three you're looking at. But realistically, this one probably would be the winner for me because it holds the largest child. It has the easiest installation where the seat comes off the base completely. And again, I don't think that it's reasonable to need two hands to get it to spin around. And again, if I wanted to remove this because it was annoying and getting in my way, I'm absolutely able to. So everything here is relatively one-handed, which I'm fond of. And the mechanisms, engaging them is certainly a little bit easier. Those are pretty tough, and you need a lot of hand strength to engage those guys. So they're all great seats. Just wanted to make sure we covered sort of the pros and cons of all of them. If you have questions or comments about any of these personal experiences that you'd like to share, feel free to leave them in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more, please feel free to like or subscribe, and we look forward to seeing you in our next car seat video. Thank you so much.